Okay, we'll look at some of the homework problems in section 3.5. Okay, first problem, we're going to use compatible numbers to compute 5 times 9 times 20 times 8 mentally. Okay, let's take a look at this. A pair of compatible numbers will be 5 and 20, because I know 5 times 20 will give me 100. And then 9 times 8 would be 72. And this is going to be quite easy to compute because I can multiply by 100 by just doing 1 times 72 and then add the 2 zeros there. So 72 times 100 will be 7,200. Okay, so that would be the final answer for that. All right, number 2, use breaking and bridging to compute 488 plus 75 mentally. In this case here, take the 488 and add. I'm going to break up the 75 into like 70 and 5. So add 488 to 70. You're going to get 5, 5, 8. And then add 558 to the 5. You'll get 563. So 488 plus 75 would be 563. Okay. Number 3, a car took 8 hours at an average speed of 69 miles per hour. Mentally compute the total number of miles traveled. Okay, there are some ways that we can do this mentally. Let's see, 69 times 8. Let's do this. 60 times 8. That's going to give me 480. And then I got 9 times 8. That's going to be 72. So now we got 480 plus 72, which would be 552. Okay, so here the total number of miles traveled will be 552 miles. Okay, now let's look at this next problem here. In this case, we're going to compute each of the following mentally, and then in each case briefly explain your method. Like 74 plus 47. Okay, and then you're going to have to figure out which one of these methods did you use here, or which one would be appropriate to use. Okay, using the adding from the left method, multiply the tens and then add the sums. That would not work for 74 plus 47 because we're not multiplying. Compatible numbers would not work, which is part C. Using the drop the zeros method would not work for this problem. But part B, you would use the adding from the left method. You'll add the tens, then add the units, and then add the two sums together. This would work. So for 74 plus 47, you add the tens, which is 70 plus 40, that's 110. Then add the ones, 4 plus 7, that's 11. And then you're going to add those two sums, 110 plus 11, that's 121. So 74 plus 47 will give you 121. Okay, now here's part B. 97 plus 66. I don't think compatible numbers would work for this particular situation. Dropping the zeros method would not work. Trading off method, where you're adding or subtracting to make one number a multiple of 10, and then do the same with the other numbers, and then add the two numbers. Be better to use D, which is using a trading off method. And that method says this: add or subtract to make one number a multiple of 10, then compensate with the other number. Okay? So in 97 plus 66, if I make 97 a multiple of 10, I'll add 3. But if I'm going to add 3, I need to compensate for that by subtracting 3 from 66. So this will be 100 minus 63, which will be 37. Or you can do this. Add 4 and subtract 4. Add 4 to the 66 and subtract 4 from the 97, which will be 97 minus 4, which is 93, plus 70. Now we're supposed to add here. 100 plus 63, that's 163. 93 plus 70 will also give you 163. Okay. So I made a mistake right here. I should be adding, not subtracting. 100 plus 63 is 163. Doing it the first way, and then the second way, the same way. Because the first way I subtracted 3 from added 3 to the 97 and subtracted 3 from 66. The other one, I added 4 to the 66 and subtracted 4 from the 97. Either way, you'll come up with the same answer using the trading off method. Okay, here's part C. You want to explain the method that's being used, and these are the possible methods that can be used in this particular problem. We got 33 plus 70 plus 70 plus 33 plus 30 plus 7. This method, you would use compatible numbers. That's what you want to do, is find two numbers that are easy to calculate mentally and then add the results. Like the 330 plus 70. That would give me 400. Another pair of compatible numbers would be the 70 plus 30. Add those two, that's 100. 33 plus 7. That would give me 40. Now add 400 plus 100, that's 500, plus 40 will give me 540. Okay, so here, that sum would be 540 using the compatible numbers method. Okay. All right, next is rounding to the nearest hundred. Here we got 7,748. We want to round to the nearest hundred. In this case, if we look at the number that's in the hundreds place, which is the second 7. That's the number we're rounding off to. And then the number to the right of the 7 is a 4. That 4 is less than 5, so the 7 will remain the same. All the numbers that are to the right of that will change to zeros. So 7,748 would be 7,700. And that's rounded to the nearest hundred. So 7,748 rounded to the nearest hundred would be 7,700. What you want to do is look at the number that's in the hundreds place. The number to the right of it will tell you whether to round up or round down. Anything less than 5, it stays the same. Anything bigger than 5, you'll increase it to the next number. Okay, here's another rounding problem. We want to estimate the difference by first rounding the given numbers to the nearest 1,000. So for each number, you're going to be looking at the number that's in the thousands place. So we got 87,320 minus 43,237. So this will be the number that's in the thousands place, which is a 7. Next to it is a 3. It's less than 5, so the 87,320 will be 87,000 with zeros there, just 87,000. 43,237 to the nearest 1,000. The 3 is in the thousands place. The 2 is the number to the right of it is less than 5, so we'll keep it as 43,000. So now you got 87,000 minus 43,000, which will give us 44,000. So the estimated difference will be just simply 44,000. Okay, here we're going to use front-end estimation with adjustment to estimate each of the following. In part A, you get 2,338 plus 6,011 plus 4,642 plus 957. And we're adding these four numbers together. Let's round all of these off to the nearest thousand. That 2,338, I'm going to round that to 2,000. 6,011 would be 6,000. 4,642, I'm going to round that up to 5,000. And 957, that's going to be rounded up to 1,000. So if I add 2,000, 6,000, 5,000, and 1,000, that's going to give me 14,000. Okay. Tell you what, or the another option would be to round to the nearest hundred. Let's see, 2338. If I round to the nearest hundred, that's going to be 2,300. This will round to 6,000. 4642 will be 4,600. And this will be 1,000. So this will be 8, 12, 13, 900. We can say that. So here, the front end estimate with adjustment in part A will be 13,900. Okay. And then part B, 203 plus 296 plus 962 plus 135 plus 188. Okay. And we want to use front end estimate with adjustment. In this case here, that 203, I'm going to round that off to 200. Let's see, 296, let's say to the nearest 10, that's going to be 300. 962 will be approximately 960. 135 will be approximately 140. And then 188 will be approximately, let's say, 190. And just add those together. Let's see, that's 10, that's 19, 3, 6, 15, 16, 17. Now this may be off a little bit, but here that would be a good front end estimate with adjustment, which is going to be 1,790. Okay. Okay, now let's look at the next problem. Use the range strategy to estimate the following: 22 times 57. Okay, so we're going to do this. One will be a low estimate. The other one will be a high estimate. 22 times 57. The 22, the low end for a multiple of 10 will be 20. The high end will be 30. Because 22 is between 20 and 30. So here I'm using multiples of 10. 57, I'm going to use multiples of 10. The lowest will be 50. The highest will be 60. Because you want to use the low and the high end, the low and the high multiples of 10 in this situation to find the that is in between those numbers. Then I'm going to multiply my low estimates and my high estimates. 20 times 50 is 1,000. 30 times 60 is 1800. So that means that the product of 22 times 57 will be between 1000 and 1800. Okay. That's how we use the range strategy to come up with an estimate of a product. Okay, let's look at this next one. In fact, this is the last one. Suppose you had a balance of $2,050 in your checking account and wrote checks for $61, $255, $415, and $528. Estimate the four check amounts and the beginning balance to the nearest hundred to estimate the new balance. Okay. To the nearest hundred, 2,050 will be 2,100. So the beginning balance is 2,100. Now, each check will be estimated to the nearest hundred. 61 to the nearest hundred will be 100. The 255 to the nearest hundred will be 300. 415 to the nearest hundred will be 400. And 528 to the nearest hundred will be 500. Now, if we add these together, this would be 9, 12, 14, no, 1,300. So those four check amounts are estimated at 1,300. So to estimate the new balance, subtract the 1,300 from the 2,100, and you'll get $800. So the estimate of the new balance is $800. Okay, and that should be enough to assist you with the problems in section 3.5.